real quick about this man. 1 year ago, before we arrived, BUFORD was traveling through this same desert, and they had a man wrapped in a shroud, and they were burying him, they had him in the ground, and they were praying around him. Bob stopped, and he wanted to pray for the family. So he said, would you unwrap the man so we can pray for this family? And they unwrapped him, and during the prayer, this man jumped up. He was the dead man.
Amen.
Now, I'm not saying that he was resurrected. I'm saying that they were burying either a live man or God had his hand on something here. But when this man heard that Bob was here, he came running literally out of the desert. And he come running across the desert, and he was in tears when he arrived. It was amazing to see. We ended up giving him food, and actually these are some of the other folks. This is Miscano. If you see on television anyone that's in this region that's doing any touring or documentaries or anything, you'll see this young man right here. He's an amazing guy. He really is. He's one of the top guys in the area. And this was Dr. Seuss, one of our doctors on hand. This here is one of the churches in Lalibela, in the city of Lalibela. Now I say city very loosely. They're more like little burgs. There's so many thousands of people that cram into the huts and things. They call them cities. In the town of Lalibela, King Lalibela, 1,500 years ago, basically carved 11 monolithic churches out of a mountaintop, out of pink granite. Today, it's still one of the wonders of the world how he did this in 23 years. Some of these churches are 4 times the size of this building right here, cut out of a mountaintop. Every one of the churches have a Holy of Holies and are guarded by a monk. The monk I showed you earlier was guarding one of these churches. And these churches, like I said, are built on top of the mountain, cut down in the mountain. And King Lalibela was trying to recreate Jerusalem to bring the Ark of the Covenant to his city during that time period. It never happened. He even rerouted the river called the Jordan, brought olive trees from the Garden of Gethsemane, and planted them on the hillside. They're still there today. Now I want to show you this. This right here, the reason I took this picture, you'll see this symbol a lot of places there. This is what they claim the tablets of the 10 Commandments are shaped like. They say they are so holy, just like the Ark of the Covenant, that they could not be touched. So they would take holes just like these and stick them under here and lift them out of the Ark of the Covenant. It makes perfect sense that God's Word would be that holy. So that's what they tell us when we were there. This right here is the top of one of the churches cut into the stone. Matter of fact, the church that I showed you where the monk was guarding it, this is that church. You would enter through the tunnels over here, drop down, and the 3 tunnels split off. And then right here, this is the church, shaped in a perfect cross. And that's what it looks like when you're looking down on it. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely amazing. And it's a full-size church. See the windows? They're all shaped like the 10 Commandment tablets. And then the Holy of Holies is in the back part of the cross right back here. No one still crosses their Holy of Holies. That's what they guard with their lives. Now,
Jim, you never did say, are you taking questions for him or just at the end?
If you got a question, throw it up.
Okay. You said these churches, are any of them active?
Every one of them are active. And there's 11 of them here. Out of the 11, I think 6 of them are still active. The rest are for other purposes now. Maybe storage bin, storage areas and things like that.
So they were being guarded, I didn't know whether just to preserve them or preserve them and worship.
They still look at it from the standpoint as because they were built with the holiness of bringing the ark there, that they still guard them with their lives, all of them. So this here, which I'm not at liberty to talk to you about right now, I'll have to come back and tell you about this. This was on an island, and honestly, Bob and myself were the first outside people that were not either priests or monks in 1900 years that were shown this document. This document was brought forward and brought to this place by one of the apostles. And we were given the opportunity, and God has opened so many doors for us to get this translated and to authenticate. And we've been able to do that. We're in the process of writing a book on this right now.
Writing by the colors.
still travel on them. There's a young boy fishing on them right there. There's another boy on a grass mat. These things stay afloat for a whole day, and they're made of grass. It's amazing what they can do. And then these are the most fierce animals on the earth. I'm telling you. They have crocodiles up to 22, 23 feet. Nile crocodiles on this lake. They're not the ones you got to worry about. You got to worry about the 6,000 to 8,000 pound hippos. Wow. These animals will come up through a 25-foot boat and go right up to the bottom of them if they feel you're in their territory. When they open your mouth, you can walk into their mouths just like this. They're that big. They kill more African people in a year than any crocodile ever gets close to. They're very territorial. They eat, plants, but they will not allow you to mess with their territory. So you stay away from them when you're around. And then this is on the shores of Lake Tana. Basically, what you're seeing here is in the morning and in the evening, these people come to the shores of the lake. They either wash their clothes in it, or they completely strip their clothes off, and that's where they take their baths out. This is how life is still in Ethiopia today. So, how many of you have seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Indiana Jones movie? Anybody seen those? Okay. I love those movies. I just absolutely love them. So, it was odd to me that one of my favorite movies, all of a sudden, I'm in.
You're in it, yeah.
We're in the movies almost, and when we arrived and we're a part of this, a lot of people, the first thing when you say the Ark of the Covenant, they think of Indiana Jones. And honestly, that's almost the way it is when you're a part of this. So I'm going to talk to you about the Ark of the Covenant real quick. Obviously, it was ordered by Moses, ordered by God to Moses, I should say, to build the house, the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments were put inside the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant was made of acacia wood. Have you ever seen the flat Serengeti tree? Every time they show the flat trees of Africa on television, whenever you're watching the National Geographic shows and things. Well, that is the acacia tree. Now, this tree is a prickly tree. I don't know why God chose this tree to be it, but this is the tree they chose. The Ark of the Covenant, which is this part right here, from here down, this was made out of the acacia wood and then covered in the gold that was used for the golden calf and all of the other extras that they had during the time when Moses was on the mountain. Now, so that was molded around this Ark of the Covenant. Now, what we got here is the mercy seat. And the mercy seat actually is one solid slab of gold. Now, don't rush the stage, because this is not solid gold. Okay? But this is the mercy seat. This was the only pure piece of the Ark of the Covenant. It was made of solid gold. Everything was pounded and hammered into position, and the cherubim angels were put up on top of the Ark of the Covenant and to guard over the mercy seat. Now, the mercy seat literally means this was the throne of God. This is where God came down one day of the year. Now, you have to remember this. The only time that God has ever come down before this time to earth was during the time of the Garden of Eden, when he walked with Adam in the garden. And then the next time was when he met with Moses in the burning bush on top of Mount Sinai. Other than that, the only time God ever came down was to set on his pure solid gold replica of his holy throne. That's what he sat on right here between the two cherubims who guarded his area. Now, the biblical significance of the Ark of the Covenant shows us that it had great power. It parted the River Jordan.
No, you don't.
When the River Jordan was flooded, God told him to take the Ark to the river. The river then stopped flowing. They walked across, and they were clear. It brought down the great walls of what city? Jericho. They marched around 7 times. It defeated armies. And no one was to look at it. No one was to touch it. And when King David didn't do what God said and carry it, he put it on a cart. It went to fall